The boy stood in the rain outside the glass tower, soaked to the bone, his small shoes leaving muddy prints on the marble floor as security dragged him in. He couldn't have been more than 9, thin, with dark hair plastered to his forehead and eyes too old for his face. "I'm the heir to this company," he said in a clear, unbroken voice. The guards laughed. Elias Hawthorne, the 62-year-old billionaire who owned Hawthorne Global, happened to be crossing the lobby at that exact moment. He paused, amused by the child's audacity. "Kid, go home," one guard muttered, reaching to escort him out. But the boy didn't move. He looked straight at Elias and repeated, slower, "I'm Alexander Hawthorne. Your grandson. And I have proof." Elias froze. The name Alexander had died with his only son, Daniel, 12 years ago in a car crash along with his wife, Sophia. There had been no survivors. No children. The grief had hollowed Elias out. He had built an empire bigger than ever, just to fill the silence. He waved the guards away. "Show me," he said, voice rough. The boy reached into a worn backpack and pulled out a silver locket on a broken chain. Inside was a photograph, Daniel holding a newborn wrapped in a hospital blanket. On the back, in Sophia's handwriting, Alexander James Hawthorne, born March 15, 2015. Our miracle. Elias's hand trembled as he took it. The date was right. The blanket was the one Sophia had chosen herself. He looked up at the boy's face and saw it now, unmistakable, Daniel's mouth, Sophia's storm-gray eyes. "How?" His voice cracked. "They told me no one survived." Alexander's chin lifted. "They lied. The nanny pulled me from the wreck before it burned. She was badly hurt. She gave me the locket and told me one day I had to find you. She died last year. I've been in foster homes ever since. But I kept the locket. I kept your name." Elias knelt, slowly, his expensive coat pooling on the wet floor, and looked into the eyes of the child he thought had been buried with his son. "I looked for you," he whispered. "Every year on your birthday, I hired new investigators. They all said the same thing, impossible. I stopped believing in miracles." Alexander's lip quivered, but he didn't cry. "I never stopped believing I'd find you." That night, Elias canceled every meeting, every gala. He brought the boy to the penthouse that had been cold and silent for 12 years. He ordered clothes, food, everything a child could want, but Alexander only asked for one thing. "Can we go see where they're buried?" They stood in the rain again the next day, at the 2 headstones side by side. Daniel James Hawthorne. Sophia Grace Hawthorne. Beloved son. Beloved daughter. Forever 28 and 26. Alexander placed a single white lily on each grave. "I brought him back to you," he told them quietly. "Like I promised I would." Elias couldn't speak. He had spent a decade turning grief into steel, into towers and billions, believing love had died that night on the highway. And here it was, standing beside him, small and unbreakable. Weeks later, the DNA test came back. 99.9998% match. The lawyers drafted papers. The headlines screamed, "Missing Hawthorne heir found after 12 years. But the real change happened quietly. Elias sold the yacht he never used. He shut down 2 shell companies that had been bleeding money into tax havens. He started coming home before dark. He learned how to make pancakes that weren't burned on one side. He sat through parent-teacher nights and argued with a 9-year-old about bedtime. One evening, Alexander found him in the study, staring at an old photograph of Daniel at graduation. "I miss him too," the boy said softly. Elias pulled him into his lap, something he was still learning how to do without feeling awkward. "I wasted so many years," Elias murmured. "I thought if I made the company bigger, the pain would get smaller. But it only grew." Alexander rested his head against his grandfather's chest. "Mom used to say the company wasn't your legacy. We were." Elias closed his eyes. The boy smelled like soap and rain and second chances. The following spring, Elias stood before the board and did the unthinkable. He stepped down as CEO. He created the Daniel and Sophia Hawthorne Foundation, transferring 40% of his personal shares into a trust that would fund children's hospitals, foster programs, and scholarships forever. The remaining shares he placed in a trust for Alexander, untouchable until he was 30. The press called it the end of an era. Elias called it the beginning of one. On the day Alexander officially became Alexander James Hawthorne again, legally and fully, they went back to the cemetery. The boy, now dressed in a suit that actually fit, laid 2 more lilies down. I kept my promise, he told his parents. And he kept his. Elias took the boy's hand. From now on, we keep them together. And for the first time in 12 years, the billionaire who had everything discovered he had been poor all along, until a small, soaked boy walked into his lobby and said 6 words that changed his life forever. I'm the heir to this company. He was. But more than that, he was the heart Elias Hawthorne had lost and found again. And no empire on earth was ever worth more than that. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heart.